everyone. My name is Paige Holland. I'm the Science, PE, and Health Coordinator for Georgetown ISD. Big Decisions is a program that will be used to facilitate instruction as it relates to human sexuality for 7th and 8th grade students. The School Health Advisory Council, SHAC, is responsible for making the recommendation of the Human Sexuality Program to the Board of Trustees. The SHAC consists of 25 community and parent members, with each GISD campus being represented. During the initial meetings with the SHAC, the team established specific criteria to include in the new Human Sexuality Program. The first was to be compliant with Texas Education Code 28.004. It was important to the committee that the adopted resource reflect medically and timely accurate information with frequently updated statistics. Additionally, the information should be culturally inclusive of all populations and not use scare or shaming tactics to teach students sexuality education. Rather, it was the goal of the committee to find a resource that informs students about realistic consequences of sexual activity. Finally, it was vitally important for the SHAC committee to find a resource that GISD teachers could use to facilitate instruction while embedding the learner profile. Let's take a look at the timeline for the recommendation of the new program. In September of 2019, the SHAC made the recommendation to review new human sexuality programs. During this time, the criteria for new programs was determined. At the beginning of 2020, the SHAC reviewed 4 different programs. During this time, each SHAC member developed questions for the presenters of each program. In February and April, the SHAC had the opportunity to take a deeper dive into each program through in-person or virtual presentations. Throughout the presentations, opportunities to ask questions and seek clarity were provided. At the end of April, the SHAC voted on the recommendation they wanted to provide to the Board of Trustees. During the June school board meeting, the SHAC provided the recommendation to use Big Decisions curriculum for 7th and 8th grade students and choose the best curriculum for 6th grade students. At this time, the Board of Trustees approved this recommendation. The State Board of Education provides legal guidance around the course materials and instruction relating to human sexuality, sexually transmitted diseases, or human immunodeficiency virus. The material must present abstinence from sexual activity as a preferred choice of behavior in relationships to all sexual activity for unmarried persons of school age. The program should devote more attention to abstinence from sexual activity than to any other behavior. The program should emphasize that abstinence from sexual activity, if used consistently and correctly, is the only 100% effective way in preventing pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, infection with HIV/AIDS. Finally, the program should teach contraception and condom use in terms of human reality rates instead of theoretical laboratory rates. Now let's take a look at the Big Decisions curriculum that will be used to teach 7th and 8th grade students. The goal of Big Decisions curriculum is to help young people make healthy and informed decisions about sex. Dr. Janet Rellini is a family practice doctor who saw the need to make the curriculum due to her direct experience of working with teens experiencing unplanned pregnancies and not seeing resources appropriate to San Antonio and Texas communities to address their needs. The curriculum is aligned to the Health TEKS and also Texas Education Code 28.004, which we looked at earlier. Big Decisions was reviewed for medical accuracy by the Office of Adolescent Health. The current name of this is the Office of Population Affairs. Lastly, the curriculum is evidence-informed. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, this means using evidence to identify the potential benefits, harms, and costs of any intervention, and also acknowledging that what works in one context may not be appropriate or feasible in another. Evidence-informed practice brings together local experience and expertise with the best available evidence from research. Currently, a randomized controlled trial of Big Decisions is being conducted over 5 years in 3 Texas communities. This rigorous evaluation is funded by U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and once completed, Big Decisions will become an evidence-based program. GISD is not one of the 3 communities that is included in the trial. There are 4 principles to facilitation of the Big Decisions program. The first principle is facilitation. This is the process of guiding students to learn, grow, and change. The second principle is to remain values neutral. This principle directs teachers to keep their emotions, biases, and personal beliefs to themselves in order to be impartial and not influence student beliefs. A trauma-informed approach strives to ensure that all students feel safe, welcomed, and supported. It is important for teachers to understand there may be students who have potentially experienced some form of trauma in their past. With this approach, the facilitators of instruction are cognizant of the impact of how things may be said in the instructional setting. Lastly, inclusivity is important so students feel that their contributions and perspectives are equally valued and respected. Big Decisions uses an abstinence plus approach. Abstinence plus teaches abstinence as a best method for avoiding STIs and unintended pregnancy, but also teaches about condoms and contraception to reduce the risk of unintended pregnancy and of infection with STIs, including HIV. It also teaches interpersonal and communication skills and helps young people explore their own values, goals, and options. The approach teaches facts and strategies, but does not teach values. Values are best formed in families and communities, not in sexual education classrooms. Also, Big Decisions does not discuss techniques or how to have sex. This is not a how-to class. It's a curriculum that empowers youth to reach their goals by responsibly making big decisions. The SHAC did not choose an abstinence-only curriculum, also known as sexual risk avoidance education, because research indicates focusing on abstinence only does not lead to a decrease in unplanned pregnancies and STI transmission. The key messages provides guidance for what should be emphasized to better communicate the messages that is sent to students. Through the use of the key messages and throughout the curriculum, Big Decisions consistently presents abstinence as the most effective choice for preventing unplanned pregnancy and sexually transmitted infections. Abstinence is highlighted as the safest and healthiest choice throughout the curriculum. Big Decisions includes 10 lessons that are 45 to 55 minutes each. Lesson 1 sets up the class as a safe and respectful group. This is essential to allow students to feel emotionally and comfortable enough to openly participate in learning activities and to be able to ask questions. Lesson 2 puts a focus early and strongly on students' goals and dreams for themselves and how healthy decisions about relationships and sex are important to achieving the future that they want for themselves. Lesson 3 focuses on relationships and how to distinguish healthy and unhealthy relationships. Lesson 4 provides background about anatomy and reproduction. What are the names of the body parts and what do they do? This is important for students to be able to understand their bodies and how to keep them healthy. Lesson 5 focuses on abstinence, a decision and a plan to not have sex. Students consider what their personal limits would be in order to avoid having sex. Lesson 6 provides guidelines about sex, including rights and responsibilities, and provides knowledge and practice about effective refusal skills. Lesson 7 focuses first on when students think would be a good time for them to experience a pregnancy or another pregnancy. Then students compare the effectiveness of common types of contraception, including abstinence. Lesson 8 helps students personalize the risk of STIs and understand some basic information about transmission, symptoms, complications, and prevention of STIs. Students make a personal, confidential plan to reduce the risk of STIs. Lesson 9 uses role plays to practice refusal skills in different situations. And Lesson 10 revisits the goals and dreams that students put into their dream boards in Lesson 2. Lesson 10 then asks students to anticipate challenging situations that might be obstacles to their goals and dreams. Then they role play how they would handle them. Finally, students graduate from the Big Decisions program and receive a certificate. Students take an active learning role in the program. The group dynamics and the group experience are integral parts of the program. Each class's ground rules are established in Lesson 1. These group agreements address both respect for each other and confidentiality for what they say in the classroom. These are important components of creating safe learning environments for students to participate in the activities and discussion. To introduce topics, Big Decisions often utilizes interactive mini lectures. This technique uses questions and student feedback in the large group to develop the ideas and examples related to the topics. Other types of activities include working in small groups, forming teams and participating in games, and participating in scripted role plays. Students learn from others through observation and reinforcement of the messages of the program. Friendly competition among teams can make the material more fun to learn. Most lessons conclude with homework activity designed to improve communication between the student and their parent or guardian or trusted adult. These brief assignments are to be completed by interviewing a parent, guardian, or a trusted adult about their viewpoint on the following lesson topics: goals and dreams, abstinence, and having children. Individual responses are kept confidential. An example of an in-class activity is role play. In this particular role play, 2 students read the script and then the class discusses why or why not this is a respectful and healthy relationship. The homework assignments are designed for parents and guardians and their students to have intentional conversations about the content that was discussed during the day. Big Decisions will be taught to 7th grade students in January and 8th grade students in May. This time frame is a little different at each middle school campus. Adaptations have been made to the curriculum for remote learners. Before students receive any sexual health education, a letter will be sent home to provide parents and guardians the opportunity to opt their student out of any or all of the learning experience. If this should occur, a student will receive an alternate assignment. During the implementation of the Big Decisions curriculum, students will remain in their current science classroom. Unlike 6th grade, students will learn this information with the opposite sex present in the classroom. If you have any questions, please use the link or the QR code to access Let's Talk, and a response will be provided within 48 hours. Thank you for your time.